Hi guys, welcome back to my class. I'm your Korean teacher, Emma from SEEMILE. What did you learn in the previous class? Last time you learned three particles used for listing words, 밖에 that indicates exception, and 으로 that indicates the method or ingredients associated with something. Today you're going to learn a few more particles and most of them are about direction or starting and ending points. Before that, let's see what vocabulary words there are related to transportation. Please repeat after me out loud as a memory aid. 수영장, 멀다, 가깝다, 멕시코, 아르헨티나, 여행하다, 학교, 걷다, 버스 정류장, 뛰다, 병원, 어느, 쪽, 오른쪽, 길, 건너다, 카페, 아래, 내려가다, 시청, 왼쪽, 기차역, 버스, 타다, 자전거, 출근하다, 어리다, 때, 좋아하다, 월요일, 금요일, 지하철, 11시, 8시, 비행기, 봄, 가을, 영국, 자고 있다. Now, let's get started. The first particle you're going to learn about today is 에서까지. 에서 here looks the same as the location-related particle 에서 you've already learned before, but plays a different role in this context. Here, 에서 indicates that the preceding word refers to a departure point, and 까지 is the particle pointing to an ending or arrival point. So A에서 B까지 is like from point A to point B in English. Keeping that in mind, pause the video for a moment and try the following sentences out loud in Korean, and then replay the video to check your answers. It is asking if the swimming pool is far from home, so 집에서 수영장까지. And to be far is 멀다. 집에서 수영장까지 멀어요? Well, it isn't far, so the answer would be 아니요, 가까워요. To be near is 가깝다, and since it is an irregular word where the be irregular phenomenon occurs, it is therefore conjugated as 가까워요. To travel in Korean is 여행하다. Do you remember that words ending in 하다 word are unique? That means that when they are conjugated in the present tense, it wouldn't be like 여행하요, but 여행해요. In the same way, when they are conjugated in the past tense, it becomes 여행했어요, not 여행했어요 as usual. You'll learn why this is very soon, but for now, please just remember that when a verb or adjective that ends in 하다 needs to be conjugated in the present tense, 하다 should convert into 해요, and in the past tense, 했어요. So the correct way to say it in Korean would be 로하는 멕시코에서 아르헨티나까지 여행했어요. 히토미는 집에서 학교까지 걸었어요. Wait a moment. Isn't to walk in Korean 걷다? So why it's 걸었어요, not 걷었어요? You may have already guessed that it must be because of another irregular conjugation rule, and that's correct. Let me explain a little more about it. There are some verbs and adjectives whose stem end in 디귿, which becomes real when it combines with an ending that starts in a vowel like 아요, 어요. We call that the 디귿 irregular phenomenon, and it happens when 걷다 gets conjugated. So the correct present informal form of 걷다 is 걸어요, not 걷어요. Of course, when it combines with an ending that starts in a consonant like 씁니다, 디귿 doesn't change to 리을. It just remains as 걷습니다, not 걸습니다. On page 107, you can find more examples of irregular verbs like 듣다 to hear, 묻다 to ask, 씻다 to load, and some other examples of verbs that get conjugated in the regular way like 닫다 to close, 얻다 to get, and 믿다 to believe. Okay, let's move on. 아람이는 집에서 버스 정류장까지 뛰었어요. Now, let's watch a video where the sentences we just created are actually put to use.
집에서 수영장까지 멀어요?
아니요, 가까워요.
로하는 멕시코에서 아르헨티나까지 여행했어요.
히토미는 집에서 학교까지 걸었어요.
아람이는 집에서 버스 정류장까지 뛰었어요.
You can find more expressions that employ the A에서 B까지 particles on page 107. Now, please repeat after me. I'll read the sentences on page 107 too. 집에서 수영장까지 멀어요? 아니요, 가까워요. 로하는 멕시코에서 아르헨티나까지 여행했어요. 히토미는 집에서 학교까지 걸었어요. 아람이는 집에서 버스 정류장까지 뛰었어요. 히토미는 서점에서 식당까지 걸었어요. 여기에서 숙소까지 가까워요? 아람이는 우체국에서 도서관까지 버스를 탔어요. 카이는 슈퍼마켓에서 백화점까지 뛰어갔어요. Good job! The next particle we are going to consider is 으로. It looks familiar, doesn't it? Yes. During our last class, we learned that you can use the particle 으로 in order to let the listener know that a certain noun is an ingredient or a method of doing something. But the 으로 here is a totally different thing. This is a particle that indicates the direction of movement. Then what is the difference between this direction-related 으로 and another direction-related particle 에? While 에 has to do more with a certain place or space, 으로 is more about the direction of movement toward what's indicated by the preceding noun. But when the preceding noun is about a destination, both 에 and 으로 can be used interchangeably. Again, please don't be hard on yourself even if you don't feel like you've got it down pat yet. You're still new to this concept of when to use 에 and when to use 으로. So just expose yourself to as many Korean sentences as possible. Then you'll naturally get to know which one to use. Now let's watch a video and verify how this particle 으로 is used.
병원은 어느 쪽으로 가요?
오른쪽으로 가서 길을 건너요.
카페는 아래로 내려가면 있어요.
시청에 가려면 왼쪽으로 가야 해요.
오른쪽 refers to the right side and 으로 means towards somewhere as I just explained. The dictionary form of 가서 is 가다, which means to go. And even though you haven't learned yet why 서 is attached to the stem 가 here, I'm sure you can still understand that the speaker is telling the listener that he or she should go toward the right side and cross the street. You're going to learn about the connective ending 서 shortly. Please notice that 으로 is placed after 오른쪽. Next, 카페는 있어요. 카페 is where? Here, 면 is again another connective ending you're going to learn about later, but the basic form of 내려가면 is 내려가다, which means to go down or step down. 아래 means down, a lower area. So 아래로 내려가다 means stepping down toward a lower spot. Yes. Now we understand that 카페는 아래로 내려가면 있어요 means that you'll find a cafe if you go down to a lower level. Notice that this time only 로 is attached to the direction word 아래. Now, can you figure out when to use 으로 and when to use 로? Yes. When the noun ends with a consonant other than 리을, you should use 으로, as in 오른쪽으로, 왼쪽으로. Think about it. 르로 would be quite hard to pronounce, right? When the noun ends with a vowel or the consonant 리을, then use 로 as in 아래로, 저 길로. Next, here 려면 and 야해요 are other endings that you haven't learned about yet, but still you can get the sense of this sentence when you factor in the other parts. 시청 is the city hall, and can you guess what the dictionary form of 가려면 and 가야 해요 is? Yes, 가다, to go. 왼쪽 is the left side, and it ends in a consonant other than 리을, so 으로 is attached. Now, can you guess what it means? Right. In order to get to the city hall, you have to go to the left. Then, how would you say in Korean, which direction is the hospital in? Which is 어느, direction is 쪽, and the hospital is 병원. So it should be 병원은 어느 쪽으로 가요? Now, please repeat after me out loud. 병원은 어느 쪽으로 가요? 오른쪽으로 가서 길을 건너요. 카페는 아래로 내려가면 있어요. 시청에 가려면 왼쪽으로 가야 해요. The next particle is again related to the starting point of something. We just learned about how a departure point is expressed by the particle 에서, but this new particle is 부터, which refers to when a certain action or state begins to happen. Please watch the following video and notice how this particle 부터 is used.
아람이는 아침부터 기차역에 갔어요. 로하는 오늘부터 버스를 타요.
존은 어제부터 자전거로 출근했어요. 히토미는 어릴 때부터 걷기를 좋아했어요.
When did Adam start the action of going to the 기차역? Notice what's before the particle 부터. Yes, 아침. So Adam started going to the train station in the morning. Next, when does Rohan start taking the bus as his choice of transportation? You see 오늘 in front of the particle 부터, right? So that indicates he's taking the bus instead of other modes of transportation to get around. Now it's your turn. Please try creating Korean equivalents to the following English sentences. First, the method John has used to commute is the bike. So let's use the particle that indicates a method, which is 으로. And 어제, yesterday, is when John began commuting on his bike. So 존은 어제부터 자전거로 출근했어요. Before moving on to the next sentence, please let me explain one thing. To be young is 어리다, and you can say 어릴 때 to mean when someone was young. As you learned in the beginning of this lesson, 때 refers to the time when. You're going to learn more about the connective ending 리을 later. Can you recall what to walk is in Korean? Yes, 걷다. Its noun form is 걷기. Again, about this 기 thing, you're going to learn more later. So keeping that in mind, how would you say in Korean since she was young, Hitomi has always liked to walk? Yes, 히토미는 어릴 때부터 걷기를 좋아했어요. Now, please repeat after me out loud. 아람이는 아침부터 기차역에 갔어요. 로하는 오늘부터 버스를 타요. 존은 어제부터 자전거로 출근했어요. 히토미는 어릴 때부터 걷기를 좋아했어요. Good job! The first grammar point you learned today was about a pair of particles used to indicate leaving from departure point A for arrival point B. Yes, A에서 B까지. And you also learned that this 까지 is also used to refer to the ending point of something. So, A부터 B까지 can be used to express the thought of from starting time A to ending time B. Let's watch a video about how these two particles can be used in this way.
아람이는 월요일부터 금요일까지 지하철을 타요.
카이는 오전 11시부터 오후 8시까지 비행기를 타요. 존은 봄부터 가을까지 영국에 있을 거예요.
히토미는 점심부터 지금까지 자고 있어요.
There was some new vocabulary used in this video. Since they were used right before the particles 부터 or 까지, you may have assumed that they were all about time, and you're right. For now, please refer to this chart for your information, but you'll learn more about them in detail later in the class. Let's look at the first sentence. 월요일부터 금요일까지, from Monday to Friday. So it means that Aram takes the subway from Monday to Friday. Then how would you say Kai takes an airplane from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.? Yes, 카이는 오전 11시부터 오후 8시까지 비행기를 타요. How about this? 조는 봄부터 가을까지 영국에 있을 거예요. The particle a should be used, indicating that the preceding noun is where someone or something is located. Let's try this next one too. 히토미는 점심부터 지금까지 자고 있어요. Good job. Now please repeat after me out loud. 아람이는 월요일부터 금요일까지 지하철을 타요. 카이는 오전 11시부터 오후 8시까지 비행기를 타요. 조는 봄부터 가을까지 영국에 있을 거예요. 히토미는 점심부터 지금까지 자고 있어요. Great job, guys! Now, by solving the questions on page 113, let's review what we've learned today. Number 1. Choose the right picture. 카페는 아래로 내려가면 있어요. 내려가다, to go down, 아래 refers to a lower area, and the particle 으로 is used to indicate that the preceding noun 아래 is the direction the listener should go toward to get to the coffee shop. So picture number 4 best describes this sentence. Next, 카이는 오전 11시부터 오후 8시까지 비행기를 타요. From 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., 카이는 비행기를 타요. So number 1 would be the answer. Now, question number 2. Complete the sentence. Choose from the list. Number 1. 조는 어제 자전거로 출근했어요. 어제 is yesterday. It's likely that the speaker wants to say that John began to commute by bike starting yesterday, wouldn't you say? So to clarify that 어제 is the beginning point, let's put the particle 부터 here. 조는 어제부터 자전거로 출근했어요. Number 2. 아람이는 아침 기차역에 갔어요. You can assume that it means that Aram began going to the train station in the morning. So again, 부터 would be the most appropriate choice out of the words in the list. 아람이는 아침부터 기차역에 갔어요. Number 3. 히토미는 점심, 지금 자고 있어요. How would you say that Hitomi has been sleeping since lunchtime until now? Yes, you would need to use the particles 부터 까지. So 히토미는 점심부터 지금까지 자고 있어요. Number 4. 오른쪽 가서 길을 건너요. What is the speaker telling the listener to do before crossing the road? Yes, to go to the right side. The direction-related particle that means toward is 으로, so it should be 오른쪽으로 가서 길을 건너요. Number 5. 로하는 오늘 버스를 타요. 오늘 is today. It's a time-related word, so the particle 부터 would be the most appropriate choice out of all the words in the list. 오늘부터, from today, 로하는 오늘부터 버스를 타요. Number 6. 로하는 멕시코, 아르헨티나 여행했어요. Wow, Lohan traveled from Mexico to Argentina. Mexico and Argentina are the departure and arrival points respectively, so 에서까지 should be used. 로하는 멕시코에서 아르헨티나까지 여행했어요. Number 7. 조는 봄, 가을 영국에 있을 거예요. The words 봄 and 가을 indicate the duration during which John is going to stay in the UK. 봄 would be the starting point and 가을 the ending point. So the answer would be 조는 봄부터 가을까지 영국에 있을 거예요. Number 8. 카페는 아래, 내려가면 있어요. 아래 shows the direction toward which the listener should go to get to the coffee shop, right? The particle meaning towards somewhere is 으로. So the complete sentence would be 카페는 아래로 내려가면 있어요. Well done. Okay, now let me tell you about what kind of transportation I use to do what. 저는 월요일부터 금요일까지 차로 출근해요. 집에서 회사까지 멀어요. 휴가 때 동해 쪽으로 버스로 여행을 갈 거예요. Now it's your turn. Please pause the video for a moment and tell me what kind of transportation you have access to and what you do or will do with the transportation. Please use the dictionary to look up words as needed and try to create Korean sentences that convey details. Excellent! Today you learned about 4 more postpositional particles and discovered 2 pairs that are used together frequently. Now you know some particles related to locations or directions such as 에서, 으로. So in our next class, you're going to go to Hitomi's house and learn about some more location-related words that you can use with these particles. Then, see you next class. Bye!